As much as we might forget from time to time, Melee is a fun game. While the stress of competition may have us in our feelings every now and then, and every so often the controller gets hucked to the floor, the myriad of options this game has to offer is what keeps us coming back for more. The movement, the advanced techniques, the endless combo strings that are continuously unlocked. There is no better feeling in the world than being on a setup with the homie, always chasing that one clip that moment. But there's a different reason some people play this game. Some people play Melee to see the look of "I've never seen this before" on their opponents' faces. Some people play Melee to prove to not just themselves, but to the entire community that the preconceived notions we have can be wrong sometimes. Some people play Melee seriously with those characters you only use during the cross-faded 3 AM friendlies. Mid-tiers are the characters that have been locked out of the top end of brackets. Some mid-tiers offer a completely different experience than the top tiers, often securing big wins because of their unique character quirks. The players in this video are the ones that took their underdog characters to new places and stood out among their mid-tier peers. For the sake of this video, we'll be using the most recent community-wide tier list made in 2021. And continuing with housekeeping, if you're looking for a video that highlights low tiers, go check out this one we made a little while back that does exactly that. Upside, inside out, livin' la vida loca, and here's Allston Melee's top 10 groundbreaking mid-tier mains. Shouts out Pato Mora and SSBM Clover for the video suggestion. Throw us a subscriber number to help us get to 15K, and number 10, Shroomed. While today, Shroomed is associated with a couple characters much closer to the top of the list, back in the day, Dewan McDaniels.
I'm Dewan Energy McDaniel. I'm Dewan.
Was the definition of a mid-tier hero. Dr. Mario has been up and down the tier list like a 90s fitness VHS tape, but Doc has always remained right inside that mid-tier range. Shroomed debuted on the local NorCal Power Rankings in 2009 at 14th, and by 2012, he'd find himself at number 1, consistently being called the best Dr. Mario in the world. And while some regions can complain about one person having all the matchup knowledge around, NorCal has consistently had Doc representation with both Bob Money and Homemade Waffles being staples of both NorCal and the character. Shroom's Doc was known for DI mix-ups that consistently got opponents flying off stage, consistent kill confirms off of grab with that big old fist of a forward air, and ruthless edge guards using all of the options the character has. While pretty much anyone can hit a cape edgeguard on a spacey with enough chances, Shroomed was not just limited to hitting side B on the ledge, and would consistently hard call out recovery options with Doc's limited arsenal. Shroom's notable placements with Doc were top 8ing Apex 2012, beating Korean DJ and going Game 3 with Armada, 3rd at Kings of Cali 3, making it to Winners Finals, beating Lucky, S2J, and PewPew, and the ever so famous EVO 2013 run at Melee's return to the big stage. Being sent to losers by a Wobbles who would go on to get 2nd, Shroomed would beat fellow mid-tier hero Axe Game 3, and then make a combo video out of the up-and-coming, soon God status Leffen. With too many clips to show in this video and the couple games they played, Shroomed would decisively beat Leffen 2-0 in one of the most notable upsets of the event. Losing yet again to Armada, there was clearly characters that Shroomed and Dr. Mario struggled with, and soon after the event, he turned those secondaries into a dual main, pushing Doc out of the picture. While some may argue for a higher placement on this video, we put Shroomed as a strong number 10, as he's the only player featured on this list from this point on that doesn't currently call a mid-tier character his main. For being one of the main reasons Dr. Mario saw the peaks of his tier list placements and bracket results, Shroomed truly was one of the best mid-tier heroes to ever do it. Number 9, Curb. While Game & Watch has been consistently thought of a character that is riding right between that mid-tier and low-tier range, recently we've seen more players than ever put up an argument why this 2D mans could be more competitively viable than previously thought. Curb is a well-traveled Game & Watch player from New Jersey who has been top 64 in major tournaments throughout the last decade. Known for making this quote-unquote bad character look like a top tier, Curb has a vicious punish off of grab with a credit card forward air that could put Mar's sword to shame. With consistent edge guards that may or may not include a sausage or two, Curb has made even well-prepped top players look completely lost deep in bracket. Curb's self-titled combo video, Curb Stomped, debuted in 2014 and for sure changed the way people viewed the overlooked characters in this game with just one watch. With a whole section dedicated to the 9 hammer combos, many a player has left the setup feeling cheesed the last stock, but that RNG side B is clearly not the only reason Curb has the W's that he does. While Marth is known as an extremely tough matchup for the character, Curb has taken games and sets off of many top-level Marth players and has at the least kept it competitive against many top 100 players throughout his lengthy career. Well known for bullying grounded opponents with that ruthless down tilt or owning the air with a cold-blooded nair, Curb has made Game & Watch look like a great character against even the strongest of opponents. For being the blueprint for rising Game & Watch players everywhere, we'll be ringing our bell for the flattest man in New Jersey. And make sure you ring our bell. And number 8, Abate. With back-to-back mid-tier players known for their combo videos, this Pittsburgh residence is, as the kids say, cracked.
I still crack.
While it was very hard for us to pick between the top Luigi mains, as both Kamaster and Eddie Mexico were absolutely in the running for this video, we gave the nod to Abate solely because of how attractive he is in real life. God, just look at him. Photos with wine aside, after being inspired to play Luigi from Voodoo-Jin, a fellow Pittsburgher, Abate has been at the top end of Melee tournaments since 2010, beating Siren and Hacks at Zenith 2011 to get 13th at one of the first high-level tournaments he ever attended. Since then, Abate has W's over some of the best players to main their respective character. Everyone from Axe to Drug Fox to Nun to Cactuar has dropped sets to this Luigi legend. Abate is well revered for his movement and use of Luigi's ground options, seemingly transporting himself across stage in order to follow up on combos. With consistent tech chase options making every knockdown terrifying, Abate has linked many combos into that pseudo rest, killing opponents off top at low percents. That said, this entry wouldn't be doing its job without the mention of Abate's run at one of the biggest Melee tournaments of all time, the Big House 5. Abate's 7th place finish would include wins over the likes of Axe, Duck, and S2J, all considered at the time to be the best player at their mains. And of course, as those informed know, this happened.
Falcon does not die off the top.
That was a big stomp for Johnny, though.
It was, yeah.
Oh, knee!
It freed him up.
Oh, my God!
Yo, and Johnny way behind percentage, but oh my God.
Dude, that might be...
Oh, and he stopped.
What
happened?
That?
What happened?
What happened?
What happened?
What was that? What was that stomp?
Somebody explain that to me. I have no idea what just happened.
What happened with that stomp?
Did he... That was not a meteor cancel, was it? Because he was in...
Abate will go down in Melee's history books as one of the most consistent mid-tiers to ever play the game, and if you happen to be in the group that hates on this Mario brother, take a deep look at this face and rethink your decision. Number 7, Kage. Ganondorf is a big slow boy in a fast game world. Although the Gerudo Warlock is known for being easily overwhelmed by faster characters, an unexpected big punch can ruin anyone's day. While back in the ancient times, Ganondorf's placement was considered to be a bit higher, mostly due to the more simplified neutral game and a less refined touch of death, Kage has been around the Melee scene throughout it all. Entering the fray in 2007, the Canadian warrior would quickly ascend into an icon known for representing his character at the highest level yet, scoring a 5th place finish at both Revival of Melee 1 and Apex 2009. Kage's Ganon is known for stuffing opponents overextending with hard-hitting 3-piece combos, resulting in any character being rocketed off stage into an edgeguard opportunity. With the call-out downers in neutral transitioning into a big punch forward air, Kage can easily add 50% of damage in seconds. Today, Kage has been a constant fixture of the character, and while new Ganon mains seem to be sprouting up more than ever, Kage is still considered to be a top dog of Ganondorf who can compete with the best. While Kage can still be found meditating under a waterfall today, a certain tournament in late 2009 is still the most impressive performance Kage, and maybe even Ganon, has ever had. At Revival of Melee 2, Kage and Mango would meet in winner's quarters. At this time, Mango was undeniably the best player in the world, constantly taking decisive first place victories over the rest of the pack. But at ROM 2, Kage would shock the world by winning in a huge upset 2-0 over the Kid. After dropping to loser's bracket following a loss to Hungrybox in semis, Mango would get his chance at avenging his loss to the Warrior, and yet again, Kage would take a W over both the Falcon and Puff, scoring 3rd at one of the most important tournaments to date.
Oh, man!
We have to emphasize that this was truly one of the biggest upsets of this time, and Kage really did make a name for himself and the Demon King on that day in November 2009. Kage will forever be a pillar of Ganondorf because of his longevity in this community, as the warrior is still a name to watch out for in any bracket across the world. Number 6, Bum. Bum is an old school legend of Melee. Joining the scene around 2006, Bum is one of the best DK players to ever style and grace a GameCube controller. In 2007, MLG was the most pristine and established esports company involved in Melee and would host a series of tournaments that was revolutionary for the scene. The MLG series would travel across the country, bringing a level of production and competitive drive to Melee tournaments not yet seen. And on a couple of stops on that road, a certain big monkey would up air the out of his opponents. Although Bum's recorded and preserved bracket runs are few and far between, the 3 archived events would reveal breakout performances across the board. At an extremely stacked MLG Long Island 2007, Bum would defeat Isaiah, one of the best to ever do it, in round 1 of top 16 in an extremely shocking upset. Not stopping there, Bum took W's over Warrior Knight, Killafox, and Shootat, all high-ranking players at the time, eventually falling to PC Chris for an incredible 4th place finish with a character thought to be a low tier. Bum would continue the high-place performances afterwards, splitting 1st place at Zenith 2007, a tournament at the time still operating as a weekly before growing into the semi-major it became in 2013. Bum's list of wins with DK include J-Man, Hacks, PC Chris, KDJ, Cactuar, Court, and countless others. Although unfortunately due to a lack of preservation in old school Melee, many of the VODs are lost to time or never even existed to begin with. Bum was known for a precise punish game on fast fallers and floaties alike, keeping opponents airborne with combo strings for what could feel like an eternity. Bum is known for revolutionizing Donkey Kong as a character in Melee, and his influence still exists in players across the world, whether that be at 2 AM friendly sessions or people picking DK in top 32 today.
Eyes.
He legitimately just went Donkey Kong.
He just went DK. Did he roll his eyes?
Number 5, Fly Amanita. Let's be honest, ice climbers get a lot of hate in Melee. Whether it be because of the character's past reliance on wobbling, taking unexpected upsets over your favorite players, or just because there's fucking 2 of them, the down smashing duo has caught a ton of heat over the course of Melee's history. But one player who has been seemingly immune to this stigma is the SoCal-based Fly Amanita. Fly is one of the best ice climber players ever, with results still extremely impressive today. But that said, Fly can't really wobble consistently. Fly is known for some of the nastiest handoffs ever performed against high-level talent. While the rare chance of a dropped wobble is all you can pray for against certain players, Fly keeps his enemies' hopes up, but after 5 to 6 successful handoffs, the result is usually the same. With an intense knowledge of the Nana AI and a Sopo that's impressive on its own, Fly would continuously score high placements at tournaments, from his 25th place at Genesis 1 to his 2nd place at an especially top-heavy Press Start in 2015, beating Shroomed, SFAT, and Axe, only losing to Losers Bracket Mango. Fly is also well known for an impressive 7th at EVO 2014, only losing to 2 gods of Melee, just barely getting clutched out by PPMD last stock Game 3. Although we've already gone over Fly's inability to wobble, Big House 4 in 2014 would be one of the first majors to ever ban wobbling outright, resulting in Fly protesting by not crossing the 200 BPM picket line out of solidarity for his fellow character mains. While Fly would publicly state that his interest in events was dwindling mostly due to a lack of competitive drive in recent years, it's pretty unlikely that Fly would ever return to form in the current wobbling banned meta, even though his playstyle would hold up more than most. Fly Amanita is truly one of the dopest Ices players ever, with a playstyle that is constantly interesting. The combo strings from this enigma of Melee are more relevant than ever in this current meta. For being an Ice Climber player that truly did break the stigma, we confidently put Fly as our 5th flyest mid-tier to ever do it. Number 4, Wobbles. In any other video, maybe besides top 10 painful to watch sets. If we were to put 2 ice climbers in the top 5, we think the anti-A-Pressures Association would go fucking wild on us. But in this specific scenario, Fly and Wobbles are some of the most swag players to ever put their little white glove thingy over the Inuit duo. Although Wobbles is widely known for having some of the nastiest ICs combos to ever make a Peng Boys video, not so long ago, he was determined to showcase how f***ing busted the Ice Climbers Infinite really was. While the grab to forward tilt never-ending story was something that was rarely seen back in the day, Wobbles would take the Japanese found combo string to an all-new level. At EVO 2013, Melee's big return to the main stage came with a huge boost for the scene, and Wobbles would grab to pummel every damn opponent he could as the upsets began stacking up. Being the literal first player whose skill was downplayed by detractors saying he was carried by wobbling, Wobbles would shockingly defeat Mango 2-1, PPMD 2-0, and Hungrybox 2-1 to make it to Grand Finals at one of the most important tournaments to ever happen in Melee. The 3 players Wobbles defeated back-to-back were ranked number 1, number 4, and number 5 in the world, and his run to this day is still one of the biggest chain of upsets ever grabbed in this game's history. See what we did there? While the 6-1 victory for Mango would do a great deal of overshadowing Wobbles' accomplishments, the infinite grab combo would be forever cemented in our game's legacy as wobbling. As Wobbles would show shortly after, while he is obviously extremely proficient at his self-titled technique, the combo game and deep understanding of the character from this legend of Melee could get anyone outside of the bubble interested in this game at a competitive level. Whether you can barely hit up B to recover, or you're a seasoned veteran of Melee majors, the things this man is able to do with Nana and Popo can easily drop your jaw in both shock and awe. Regardless of recent inactivity or even banning of the controversial technique, Wobbles will still remain as one of the legends of ice climbers for as long as we play Melee. Number 3, Hugs86. Where do we even start? These days, Hugs gets a whole lot of shit for being the oldest man to touch a GameCube controller and having a playstyle in Melee that is equivalent to watching someone parallel park. Getting his start around 2004, the old school Samus's big tournament debut was at MLG Los Angeles 2004, where he'd shockingly get 9th place beating someone. The bracket's gone. Going from random SoCal Samus to established MLG competitor almost immediately, Hugs would repeatedly place 9th at MLG events across the US. Qualifying for the MLG 2006 championship, the Samus OG would place 8th overall, losing to Ken and Mewtwo King, continuing his consistency at the top level. A year later, Melee would get invited to the biggest stage in the FGC, and Hugs would keep that thing on him at the Las Vegas Grandstand. 17-year-old Mango's stunning defeat over the King of Smash in winter semis, Hugs would upset future Smash documentary star PC Chris to find himself in an all SoCal winners finals. Defeating Mango 2-0 after Ken would end the kid's best run to date, the King of Smash versus the future King of BuzzFeedMultiplayer would be matched up for grand finals. With Ken taking the first set 2-0 to reset the bracket, Hugs and Ken would go down to a 1-1 tight battle last stock scenario to determine the winner of EVO, and Ken would just barely clutch out the tournament. In just a couple years, Hugs solidified himself as a top 10 player in Melee with a character that was truly underdeveloped and rarely played, and started to change that narrative for Samus. 11 whole goddamn years later, at one of the biggest Melee tournaments ever, Genesis 5, we would see a deep bracket run by the Cali native. Hugs defeated the Samus main started to be considered a tier above himself, Duck, 3-0, and just barely clutched it out over Amsa, the best Yoshi player ever, in Game 5 to make top 8 at the Paramount Theater. Jokes about being old as fuck aside, we can't understate the weight of this accomplishment, as Hugs really did prove after a decade plus of playing the game, his Samus will undoubtedly go down in the Melee Hall of Fame. We rank Hugs86, a living legend as old as the dirt we walk on, and someone who can really take a joke on the chin more than most, so high on our list for being top 10 in the world all the way back in 2007 and continuing to show Samus on the biggest stages in Melee even in 2018 and beyond. Number 2, Amsa. the GOAT of Japanese Melee. Amsa the Red Yoshi is a perfect example of what one person can do to completely change how people view a character in this game. Amsa has endlessly inspired people to pick the double jump dinosaur on the character select screen to seriously compete in Melee. A character once found in the low tier section, even sometimes below others like Mewtwo and Ness, is today a character that is often found in top 8s at the biggest tournaments in the world, solely piloted by the ever so positive competitor. Amsa's first US debut was at EVO 2013, taking a respectable 25th place and showcasing the character's unique abilities. While some would heavily doubt Yoshi's ability to compete at the top level against more composed, reserved playstyles, just a short time after, Amsa would put up a strong argument. At Apex 2014, Amsa would defeat both Silent Wolf and Fly Amanita, patient players against mid-tiers in their own right, and by Kings of Cali 4 a few months later, for the first time in Melee's history, a god of Melee would fall to a Yoshi player. Amsa's W over Mewtwo King to make winner semis would send shockwaves through the world of Smash. With his unique playstyle filled with everything from patient egg throws and double jump armor mix-ups to a ruthless combo game with 0 to death strings on any fast faller, Amsa was truly showing new strides of Melee we hadn't ever seen before. After Amsa's wary 77th rank in 2013 with little data to go off of, he has been top 25 on every official yearly ranking since, and starting in summer 2018, he has perpetually been top 10 in the world every single time. With not a single other Yoshi main ever appearing on the top 100 since we've had an official rank, Amsa is truly on a pedestal of his own, fully carrying the character to the level we think of the dinosaur today. With countless top 8 appearances throughout Melee's recent years, always with a big ol' smile on his face, Amsa is a player that is impossible not to respect and look up to, regardless of what Smash game you play. Only time will tell if Amsa can prove that Yoshi can win a super major at the highest level of Melee, but one thing's for damn certain: there will never be another Yoshi player like Amsa. And our number 1 mid-tier main of all time, Axe. July 10th, 2009. A groundbreaking Melee major is being hosted in Northern California, a region known for being extremely stacked and nearby some of the best players in the world. But without any tournaments of importance in seemingly forever, NorCal was finally hosting an event that at the time would be the biggest Melee tournament to ever happen, with 290 entrants. With international talent flying in from all over and practically all of the top players from the US traveling west, this tournament was the one to make a name for yourself. We find ourselves behind a glowing CRT with 2 players fighting for their winner's bracket life. J-Man, one of the best Fox players in the world at the time, is struggling to clutch it out against a seemingly random Pikachu player hailing from Arizona. In 2009, Pikachu was still a character thought to be in the top end of the low tier section, so this would be a massive blemish on the New York natives' early bracket run, as Fox is thought to be the far and away best character in the game. With 2 stocks to spare, the Pikachu win screen would be met by a screaming crowd, as Arizona natives would literally hoist this new talent, going by the tag Axe, up into the air. Axe wouldn't make it very far in bracket past the huge upset at Genesis, but the tone was set for his future runs, and he would consistently make his name known at tournaments like Pound 4 and Apex 2010. 10 years later, Summit 8. Leffen and Axe, the number 4 and number 11 ranked players in the world, sit down to play winners finals for one of the biggest prize pools in Melee's history. While Leffen was seeded first and projected to make it to the spot that he's at now, Axe was not. In his first round of the final bracket, the suddenly number 10 and later maybe best player in the world, Zain, would bring Axe to Game 5. This was a task that was almost unimaginable for most Marth players, as this matchup is commonly thought to be as one of the hardest for the Tiara Prince, maybe solely because of Axe's dominance. A last stock, over 100% tight battle on Pokemon Stadium would end as Axe reads Zain's tech to the left with an up smash, leaving the Pokemon the victor in his own stadium. And Axe would move on to fight Mango in another Game 5. As Axe enters the 5th game yet again, he is experiencing a second dose of bracket pressure that most never even feel in their entire Melee career. After Axe solidly defeats the number 6 ranked player in the world, he moves on to play Wizrobe in winter semis, to which he strongly wins 3-1 in a matchup he's historically performed extremely well in. As Axe and Leffen start game 1, the accomplishment of a Pikachu player making it to winners finals at this tournament is impressive enough. But a narrative would start to build as Axe takes the first stock, and 13 minutes later, Axe would find himself in his 3rd Game 5 of the final bracket, this time against the 1st seed of the tournament. As 2 stocks are under the yellow rat, a Pikachu over Fox upset reminiscent of the one 2009 would occur, this time in one of the final parts of the bracket and with a prize pool $25,000 more than the original Genesis. With Wizrobe pulling a massive 3-0 upset over Leffen in losers finals, Wizrobe and Axe, 2 players not a single person predicted being in grand finals, would sit down to play the last sets of the day. With Wizrobe winning the first set 3-1, a reverse of their previous set in winners, it was suddenly looking like the Falcon main, who had just won his first major 2 weeks prior, was on the verge of changing history yet again. But 4 intense games later, a different player would be the one to alter Melee's competitive narrative, and Axe would be the first player in this community's history to win a super major with a character thought to be a mid-tier.
He's on stage! Axe is your Smash Summit 8 champion!
Axe did it!
He's done it!
Axe is undoubtedly and undeniably one of the best players in the world, all while playing a character people once thought was below Roy. While tier lists are ultimately just bullshit thrown together, the players in this video changed the perception of these characters, and Axe is at the ultimate forefront of this ideal. In order to play these characters at the highest level of Melee, you cannot care how other people view your character, and instead of us putting words in Axe's mouth, hear from the man yourself.
When it comes down to it, I feel like if I don't play Pikachu, I'm limiting myself. You know, I think I kind of see it opposite of what other people do, and I think it's kind of hard to understand because most people think that I am limiting myself by playing Pikachu, which they see as a mid-tier, but I'm just like, why would I play Falco when I have Pikachu? Like, Pikachu just seems a lot better to me for my toolset and what I'm good with.
Don't let other people's opinions change how you play this endlessly rewarding video game. Year after year, and soon decade after decade, the way we think of Melee will change, and it will likely be because of one person shifting the narrative single-handedly. The tier list and the previous perceptions we have are bullshit because we only know what we think we know. Play Melee however the hell you want. If you want to pick a low tier and grind your heart out as people complain about a matchup they don't know, go for it. If you want to continuously practice an impractical combo, not because you think it's the best option, but because you think it looks fucking cool as hell, do it. If you want to change the entire community's viewpoint of Super Smash Bros. Melee, it will take years of hard work and even extreme dedication, but you might just have the ability to pull it off. Change Melee. One game, one tournament, one era at a time. Good luck on accomplishing your dreams in this beautiful community. Try your goddamn hardest at whatever you want out of it, and we might just be screaming for you in the crowd during grand finals.
Hey y'all, thanks for watching Allston Melee. My name's Sakana, but you can call me TK, and I'm the new editor for Allston Melee's Top 10s. If you want to help the gang out, then hit the sub button about there, I would imagine. It does wonders to help us. We've been on a little bit of a hiatus, but we are so glad to be back and talking about everyone's favorite 2001 video game. Truth be told, a couple of our numbers took a hit over the break, and if you want to help us get back on our feet, then the best way to do that is to head over here to patreon.com/AllstonMelee. The wonderful people scrolling by at lightning speed over here have stuck with us through thick and thin. And if you want to help make us Melee's future content overlords, then it only takes a $5 to get access to a bunch of behind the scenes stuff. Last thing, what day is it? Because if it's between December 2021 and January 2022, then we've just put out a merch line for everyone's favorite Melee tournament, Genesis. Head on over to smash.gg/GA and click the rewards shop button. A lot of the merch has been directed or created by some of our Allston Melee heads. That'll be all. Promise the next video will come out much faster when I stop editing at the speed of a pig dipped in shit, and I'll see you in the next one.